Hi, and welcome to a brand new Riders Lounge podcast. We're going to give this one a little bit of a different shot. I am driving home from a show at Le Mans in France. We've got 15 hours on the road, and I figure if I don't do this video now, I'm probably going to forget what happened at X Games, which just went down about an hour ago. So before I get into it, I would say huge thanks to my sponsor, Roadhouse 10 and Zephyr. I've got a whole bunch of them in the back of the van, but we do have a fair few more hours of driving, so that's where they're going to stay for now. The competition today, though, it was awesome to see. X Games brought FMX Best Trick back in Japan, but it was only the one event. There was no best whip, there was no freestyle, it's only Best Trick, 2 jumps per person, 7 riders, and probably saw everything I thought we were going to see. The only kind of things that's really kind of surprised me or shocked me actually was from Adam Jones and Julian Van Stippen. But I'll talk about that in just a few seconds. The riders who were there, Harry Bink, Jacko Strong, Rob Adelberg, Josh Sheehan, Adam Jones, Julian Van Stippen, and there's one more, Taka Higashino, the Japanese rider, home turf. And I watched the training yesterday. I think Chuck Carruthers actually had a live feed going on Instagram. And I did see that actually Taka went for a Cali roll and crashed. And he got out of it okay, got back on the bike reasonably quickly, and was throwing down rock solid Indy flips. So it looked like he was ready to go. That was the best part. So what did we see in the very first round? Adam Jones, so the riders were already chosen what order they were going to go in. So Adam Jones came out first, threw down the dead body backflip, which we all expected from him. And I did hear that bar trick saved Adam Jones's life. So he was always going to throw a bar trick out. The dead body flip, it's the biggest one. Nobody does it bigger than Adam Jones. Second rider out, Julian Van Stippen, the X Games gold medalist in Best Whip last year. You know, the kid who just turned up and threw that whip inside out, back to front. He was back, this time in Best Trick, and he threw down one of those huge ruler indies that we also saw from him. He had a backflip that we saw at X Games last year at Axel Hodges' house. That was in his first run. Tucker, his first jump was the rock solid flip, and it was huge. It was one of the best rock solid flips you're going to see, especially over 75 foot. Harry Bink. Now, Harry, the wizard, you never know what you're going to get with him on the super kicker, which I don't know if you guys saw any photos. Luke Ackerman showed me this photo yesterday that he just screenshotted from somebody's Instagram. And they lifted the super kicker up on about, 10 or 15 chunks of wood. So the super kicker was lifted up. I don't know if it was just not the right super kicker, or if they decided they wanted more airtime out of the regular one. I don't know. Harry came out and threw down a double backflip, one-handed knack, tapping the boot on the way through. That's impressive. To reach all the way back to touch your boot on a knack. On an upright would be hard. On a single backflip would be very hard. And on a double flip, he's the only guy who does it. So that was cool. And that got him into third position with that trick. Jacko then rolled out, threw down his frontie no-hander. A trick that we've seen Jacko do before. And it looked good. Looked really good. And at that point, he was sitting in gold medal contention. Sheeny came out with a double backflip, no-hander. As Sheeny does, just smashed it out, made it look as easy as pie, but he was sitting in third, but it would end up being fourth at the end of the first round. And then it was Rob Adelberg, the man who had, I think it was 6 gold medals in 1 year at X Games. I think it was a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, when there was all the Winter X and everything else that was going on in 1 year. Adelberg came out with the same trick as Jacko Strong, the front flip, no-hander. And I'd say that's actually a little bit tough because Jacko's already set the bar. Here's the trick. I've already done it. Now Rob actually had to come out and do it, and he had to do it better. if he was going to get more points, because the judges already seen what is possible. I would argue it probably was a cleaner front flip no-hander, but Adelberg was just didn't get the points. I think it was 0.33 less than Jacko Strong. So at the end of the first round, Jacko in first, Adelberg in second, Harry Bink in third. And it was pretty, this went down fast. There was no mucking around. There was no ad breaks between the first 7 riders, which was good to see. They just got on with it, and we saw some big tricks. Second round started. Adam Jones again came out and threw down another bar trick. Of course, this time it was the Shaolin backflip, and that's what actually I really like seeing. The dead body flip will be the highest scoring trick out of the two. And whether he thought that was as good as he wanted to go today, fantastic. But when he threw out the Shaolin flip, it was huge. I think if we had a super slow-mo replay, which they didn't give us, and it all happened quite quickly, and I'm sitting there, I'm driving along. I didn't exactly have the best internet connection to have the best resolution. I only had about 16 pixels on my screen. But it looked like he actually got his backside to touch that front fender. We'll have to check that one once the replays are available on X Games. This was all on YouTube, by the way. If you didn't see it, it was there. Free to watch this time. That was actually really good. Julian Van Stippen, he came back out. Wasn't sure what he was going to throw. We saw the ruler Indy flip in the first one. I know he's worked on some other big tricks in the past. And he came out with an underflip Mac. Now, I actually was very surprised, and I was really excited with that trick. As he did it, I was like, yep, that looked freaking awesome. And then as they showed the replays, I was like, oh yeah, it looked a little bit like Matt Rabot when he used to do that underflip knack. Someone like, maybe, I think Levi might have done an underflip knack. So if you've seen those before, you can kind of picture where Julian went on that one. Taka Higashino. Now, this one, I feel like he probably was going for a bigger trick, but he got the Heart Indy backflip. Like I said, he did a rock-solid flip on his first jump. I saw in Chuck Carruthers's... Is that what you would say for the... Yeah, Chuck Carruthers video from yesterday in training. It wasn't rock solid Indy backflip, so I kind of feel like that's where Tucker was going on it, but didn't feel it, or he just decided to change plans. Heart Indy flip, and it was huge, but it would not be his rock solid flip. Harry Bink, this time he came back out, and I know he's been working on a lot of things. He puts a lot of stuff up on Instagram, so we all kind of we keep guessing what will Harry come out with. This time, instead of going for a second completely different trick, he decided to ratchet it up and go for that double backflip, one-handed knack, and make it better. And he did. He held on to his boot for, well, the first one was like just the slightest of touches. The second one, you could see he actually got to have a bit of a grab on his boot on the way through and looking around at the judges or maybe at the crowd at the same time. So he increased the technicality of it and the judges increased his score, but it just wasn't enough to outdo the front flippers this time. Jacko Strong, next rider up for the second round. He came out with the Frontie no-hander. Again, I thought maybe Jacko would come with a different front flip variation, or would we actually see the Corolla that he's been working on for the last month or two that he's been putting up on YouTube? I had a discussion with Clint Esposito on his live podcast 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago or 1 day ago? Man, time flies. Whether Jacko would attempt the Corolla in Japan, or will he hold off for the new X Games summer in America? And it looks like he held off. So he went back for the front flip no-hander. He wanted to get it bigger and better because he saw what Rob Adelberg could do. Rob didn't beat him in the first round, but man, he was close. And he knows Rob could tidy things up. So Jacko went for it. I think I'll explain the next little bit at the end of it all about Jacko's front flip. Sheeny came out then with the double backflip no-hander again. This time, same thing. We know Sheeny has more double backflip variations. Was he going to go for something different? He decided on the no-hander, and actually, it looked like he held his left hand off a little bit longer than normal. Like, Sheeny's as clean when it comes to these tricks. You know, 2 hands up, 2 hands down, same time, perfect all the time. At this time, that left hand lingered. So I was starting to wonder, was he half thinking about holding it for longer? Was he thinking about going for a no-hand lander? That would be insane off of a double backflip. Like, the impact would just surely throw you to the ground. But it did make me question just a little bit. What was Sheeny actually planning on that one? So yeah, no-hand double flip again from Sheeny. And Rob Adelberg, he knew he could clean up his front flip no-hander. It was already clean on the first one. He just wanted to hold it longer and try and outdo Jacko, because Jacko had now already done his jump twice, or his 2 jumps. They were the same. So Adelberg thought, yep, well, if this is what we're going to do, it's a fight on technicality on one trick. And I would argue that Adelberg's second front flip was clean. It was super clean, and he held it longer than he did in the first round. And I would say it was cleaner and held longer than Jacko. Now, the judges waited a long time before they gave a result. And the winner was... Actually, let's go back. Third place, Harry Bink with the double backflip, one-handed knack, grab of the boot, looking around. Well-deserved third place for Harry. Second, well, it was Adelberg with the clean, held for a long time front flip, got second place. And Jacko, who threw down the first frontie no-hander of the day, he won it. Now, I can see both ways how you could argue this. Adelberg, clean and long. Yep, that's simple. I can go along with that. And X Games actually put up Jacko's front flip no-hander that won it, and in brackets had the UnTucked front flip no-hand. Now, were the judges, was that one of the criteria that they were looking at on the front flips, where Adelberg was tucked in and he was locked and loaded and he was not going to move from that position, whereas Jacko actually held kind of a pretty normal position on the bike, all considering doing a front flip, jamming on the brakes and leaning forward and, you know, initializing that front flip rotation. Was that part of the judging, that Jacko's was untucked? Maybe. The second part about Jacko's was, as he threw his no-hander on the frontie, he even looked up, which must have been hard as hell to lose focus of where your eyeballs are at and where your head's at, to do the frontie, go into the rotation, and then change what you're looking at, and to try and just get that little bit extra technical difficulty on it. I would say, as a rider, on any trick where you move your head around other than looking forward where you're going to land, it does take a lot more effort, or, you know, it changes how you feel on the bike when you do it. I don't know. So there you go. That was the results. First place, Jacko Strong, no-handed front flip. Second place, Rob Adelberg, front flip, no-hander. And third place, Harry Bink, double backy, one-handed knack. Sheeny in fourth with the double backy, no-hander. Fifth, I think, must have been Taka Higashino with the rock-solid backflip. And unfortunately, X Games at this point still haven't released, or, you know, they haven't put the results up for me to talk about them with the actual numbers, because I didn't screenshot anything. I was just watching it get bucket stoked the whole way. I think 6th would have been Adam Jones, and 7th Julian Van Stippen. But if I'm wrong, maybe those two are switched around, and I will update that in the show notes or in the description of this video. Yes, I'm sorry about that little part. I was just a little bit excited as I'm driving along here, watching X Games on my phone. What do you guys think of it? I'd love to hear what a lot of the core freestyle guys think, because I've already seen a fair few comments, even on X Games YouTube. They were interesting, to say the least. And I'll probably jump on for a chat with Clint Esposito tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be home. Maybe Tuesday, let's see. It'll also be interesting to get his take, and we'll have a couple of days to, see how things calm down and see where everybody's thoughts are at with X Games in Japan 2023. FMX Best Trick only. That was it. What's coming up now for X Games? It will be the American version. They're coming back to California, even though they were in California for the last couple of years. They're coming back. But this time, it looks like they're going for a multi-city tour, finishing in the Ventura County Fair ground, something like that. It's on the beach, which, number one, makes me think of wind. That doesn't sound like an awful lot of fun. But if I understand correctly, I think this is going for more of a festival feel, which would actually be, I think, way better for the atmosphere of X Games. Try and take FMX and action sports back to the roots. I think it's a good decision. I loved when it was in Staples Center. I love seeing Best Trick in there, like when Travis landed the double, or, all the history that went down inside the Staples Center, or the Coliseum. That was huge. But I kind of like the idea of the county grounds if they make it like a festival feel over a weekend. It'll be interesting to see. If I remember correctly, I think it's like July 21 to 23. We'll have a bit more news leading up to that as it comes. So yeah, there you go. Thank you very much for listening or watching. If you watch this on YouTube, you know what to do. This is a podcast, so jump on over to Spotify and Apple and Google Podcasts, all that sort of thing if you want. And if you're on the podcast, it is in video form. I decided to do it. We've done it. Thank you very much again to Rothaus 10 and Zephyr alcohol-free beers for keeping me going, giving me all the energy I need. I didn't need no Red Bull helmet or Monster helmet. I just needed a German beer brand behind me. That's how you get the job done. Actually, I'm going to do something a little bit different. This is 18 minutes long now, and you may find that it sounds a little bit different. I'm driving in a big van with a lot of wind noise, and with all the advent of this AI shenanigans, I'm going to throw down a little bit of AI sound mixing on this, because I don't have my computer hooked up to any kind of internet. I don't have my studio here, so let's see if we can get some good audio coming out of this, because right now it sounds horrible, and if it does sound good, you can thank those AI bots for taking everybody's job. Catch you later.